I got a question from Blake on Twitter today from Mesquite, Texas, born and raised. He said, do you agree college football needs Texas to be good for the sport overall to be great? No, I don't. But that would make a terrible segment. So I'm going to give you a few reasons why. I have a personal preference. I sure do. I want Texas to be really good. I am an elitist. I like the blue blood programs to be good. Sorry, sue me. But there is a sense of self-importance that some of us at the college football table have sometimes, and it leads to statements like that one, Blake. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it, but it leads to statements sometimes, and they sound a little something like this. Tell me if you've heard this before. College football can't be great unless Texas is great. College football needs Florida State to be good. College football is only good when Alabama's good. None of that's true. None of it's ever been true. None of it ever will be true. Let me tell you what college football's done. Especially over the last 20 years, it's exploded. Every metric imaginable, some including the ones you've never even heard of, are through the roof. Could you name me a single program that has sustained greatness for the last 20 years? Because I can't. Even Bama was on probation before Saban got there. Texas has wildly fluctuated. Southern Cal feels like they fell off the face of the earth for a little while. There's several of the major brands in college football that have, to varying degrees, been either good or irrelevant at best and at worst over that period. College football's been fine. I mean, Miami has not been elite since high-def television became a thing. And there are folks probably telling you, hey, man, college football needs Miami to be good. No, college football would prefer Miami to be good. They'd prefer Texas to be good. College football goes right on ticking. It goes right on about its business just fine, whether Texas is 12-0 or 0-12, and ditto for any other individual programming or program. Speaking of programming, I know what the comment section's about to do. Sometimes, if I have the instinct like that or the intuition, I try and get ahead of the comment section, which is bad because we actually want more comments, so I may want to change that strategy. But anyway, the comment section is going to have someone who feigns an intellectual superiority to the rest of us mere mortals, and they're going to say, yeah, but you don't get what it's really about, Josh. What about the ratings? What about the revenue? And I just told you both are fine, but if I wanted to entertain this nonsense, do you know how to interpret ratings? I know they tweet them out sometimes, and you see, for instance, the women's national championship the other day did bonkers numbers. But do you really know how to get into the weeds? Do you know the difference between a metered and non-metered market? Do you know quarterlies versus hourlies? Do you have any idea of year over year and decade over decade comps? Do you know how the ad sales infrastructure works and how much has already been sold against an event before the rating ever comes in? Yes, no, maybe, probably no. It doesn't impact you. You shouldn't know those things. You're a nerd if you do. Guilty. I'm the nerd who actually dives into that stuff. Trust me when I tell you, it should be none of your business. Voluntarily. You should make it none of your business. Treat that stuff the same way you would people gossiping about you. Just make it none of your business. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to you. The product is the product. Here's what college football needs. College football doesn't need any one team to be good, to be great. College football needs Saturday to be king. That's what it needs. It needs Saturday to be the nucleus of the sport. And as long as that's the case, college football is going to be fine. It's why a lot of folks who share the belief I do find it less than desirable the direction that some of the powers that be try and take the sport sometimes. Because they try and take it a direction where Saturday's not the nucleus. The playoff is the nucleus of it. And Saturday, it's just kind of something we do in the meantime. It kind of orbits around the postseason. That's not college football. And if it ever does become that, you know what you've gotten all of a sudden? You do have a brand that the overall sport needs. And it's, hold on, Colin, keep this shot. The brand is this thing right here. And if you're listening on pod, I'm holding up the college football playoff thermos. And once the sport becomes about that, it's not really the sport you know and love anymore. Even as some of you are supporting that expansion. I'm not telling you expansion is going to ruin college football. I am telling you, as long as you maintain the proper priority structure, then we never get into that world where one brand has to be great for the sport to be great. So, Tyler, I hope for your sake out there in Mesquite, Texas, great people in Mesquite, I hope for your sake that year 3 under Sark is a big year. Because like I told you, I got personal preferences. And I certainly do think it does benefit the sport when you get a playoff where you got some of those big names. Like, can you imagine the first time Texas makes the playoff? Can you imagine the first time Southern Cal makes the playoff? They hadn't been there, right? No. I mean, think about that. I'm trying to think. Penn State, the first time they make the playoff. Miami, if they make the playoff. Florida State has been there, but it feels like a long time ago because it was. Yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. It's not necessary. Not necessary. Believe it or not, there's some folks out there who love the TCU stories. Don't necessarily love 65-7, but they love the TCU story in the meanwhile. There's room for all. There's room for everyone at that table is my point.